It is important at this point in time to begin this marriage series that will help us to understand the controversial issues as regards marriage. This particular series will go through the month of March and further into the month of April. Today, let us discuss the controversy of divorce and marriage. Now, divorce is quite painful because nobody wants the marriage to be divorced. It is actually painful to the children, to the couple, and to the family of the married people. So, divorce is quite very painful activity in the life of a family. And so, it is good to talk about it in my first series of this marriage issue and also remarriage. Now, let us be clear at this point in time that the church does not encourage divorce. However, there is a way the church does its own thing, because the church recognizes that there will be a point sometimes in married life where it becomes very difficult to live together, especially when the two couples do not get themselves in clear understanding of what they want in life. And at that point, the church says that marriage has broken down irretrievably and therefore something to be done. Normally, divorce is never a way out. But then, the church says separation, it means separation, that the marriage is still valid, but the two partners are living in different places. That is the only way to achieve that activity of a good marriage. Coming to divorce, it is civilly acceptable. If you go to the civil court, they can accept divorce. But in the church only talk about annulment. So it is at this point that I will tell you that if that marriage has become unbearable to the point that there are domestic violence inside that marriage, the church encourages you to separate from bed and bond, waiting for the annulment processes to take place, or waiting for the divorce to take place according to the civil law. However, it is at this point that I want to tell you that marriage, when it is valid, has no divorce. And it is important that two partners do everything in their capacity to make their marriage to work. The things that cause divorce are mostly attitudinal change, attitude. And these are things, sometimes we see it in our partner before we enter that marriage, but we overlook it. Eventually, when we enter that marriage, it becomes a recurrent action and activity. So it is a warning to you. If you want to marry, it's not something you go in a haste mood. You need to look right, look left, and know whether you can be compatible with your partner. If not, that marriage will be hell for you. So it is important, as you are choosing a partner, know whether you can tolerate that which you have seen in him or in her during that courtship period. If you cannot tolerate it, better say no to that relationship. But if you can tolerate it, you can go into it, of course, with forgiveness, with maturity, with every kind of Christian principle that you learned in your religious life, or even as a Muslim, you'll be able to hold on. Then in the case of remarriage, it is only when your marriage has been annulled that you can venture into remarry. And obviously, if your marriage is not annulled, you cannot wed in the church. The traditional marriage can accept remarriage in any form, whether the bride price has been taken back, or you want to make that marriage a second marriage. So in that way, a person who is traditionally married can have polygamous family. But on the very face of it, if the person does not want to have that person to still be his wife, he has to receive the bride price, and then that is the end of the marriage. But in the Christian life, in the Catholic perspective, annulment is required. And what is annulment? Annulment is a declaration of the competent authority that marriage is invalid. That is to say, that marriage was not entered in a valid mood. And so, matrimony, sacrament of matrimony has not occurred. Perhaps because of one ground or the other, their marriage became something not achievable. So, such time, when an annulment is declared by the church, that couple can go on to marry and wed in the church. But when it is not declared, because I have worked in a tribunal, there are cases where the church will look into and see that the marriage is still valid. That is to say, that person is not bound to marry again. Is that he remain like that, or he can decide to be a fallen Christian. It's not easy anyway. I don't blame anybody. And the church does not blame anybody because it is circumstantial. It is situational. Nobody desire divorce or annulment when he is entering into a marriage. In fact, for a man, he is wasting a lot of money. Can you imagine what it takes a man to go and marry a woman only for him to enter the marriage and the marriage will break down? It means that he's going to spend something else to marry again. So it is financial intensive for a man. And the same thing for a woman. A woman will say, oh, my life has been wasted. I have not been like this when I came into the marriage. I've been destroyed. My body structure has been disfigured. So each of the partner has something to lose when they enter marriage. And when divorce happen, or perhaps when separation happen, it pains the parties. Because the man will be looking at the financial aspect of it and also the time wasted for him. The woman is also looking in different perspective, the body, the maintenance, and how much she might not be and might not marry again. These are the attitude that divorce bring in. So it is a point that we pray against divorce. The church prays against it, and the church does not want her own to enter into divorce. And so in everything we do in marriage, let divorce never be the portion of any Christian. And so I advise you as a partner, make as much as possible to understand your partner. Forgiveness is the key. These are things that will lead you to maintain a stable marriage. Problem will come, but how we remain focused and react to the problem will help us to remain faithful to our marriages. So see you next time for the continuation of this marriage series next Saturday. Then on TikTok tomorrow by 8 to 9, you can follow us for live video to explain further what divorce can do to any existing marriage.